I will be showing you how to develop a 2AC block, which will first be extending your case and then how to respond to off-case positions ran by the negative. So for extending your case, first you need to know that the 2AC largely takes ownership of the AF development. Blocks are a pre-written set of answers against common attacks. It extends the affirmative case and then answers the opponent's offense arguments. Both case extensions and responses to negative defense and offense can be found in the core files. For the purposes of this video, I will be going in depth on how to extend and respond to the federalism DA as an example, but remember that DAs are not the only argument that the negative team will run that you will have to respond to as an AF. A neg can run a CP, NK, so here are templates on how to answer that. To extend our case, we first want to include a 1 to 2 sentence summary of each advantage. For the purposes of this video, I'm going to have a separate document written out of what would be a blank document for my 2AC extensions, but you can pre-write your own summaries for the 2AC case prior to the round. You can't predict what the negative team will run, but you can predict your own case because you're the one running it. So to do that, we're going to refer back to the 1AC. Again, you can find all core files on the resources.chicagodebates.org website. Go to the evidence section, and you'll find links to specific core files for each debate division. Typically, any of these links will take you to the shared Google Drive folder, but as of right now, these links include last year's topic, but don't worry, it'll all be updated before the season starts. So for the purposes of this video, I will have a separate tab open right here, which is the policy packet folder. And I'm going to open the affirmative folder. And we're going to use the UBI AF. And we're also going to go to the answers to folder. And there we'll find how to answer federalism DA. So we're going to open that file as well. Sure, in the view tab of Google Docs, I hit show outline, which will show me the entire outline of the affirmative for the 1AC case, off case, and 2AC extensions. So referring back to our 1AC is how we create this overview that I created right here. Again, this would be a blank speech document. So for advantage 1, we are going to extend the key cards from automation advantage, which was the Ash and Dale 23 card and the Skull 22 card, which all prove that universal based income is necessary to prevent mass labor displacement, which will cause global war. This advantage argues that AI is taking millions of jobs and causing undereducated, low-skilled workers to lose their jobs, causing mass employment, which leads up to potential collapse in the economy. And then we go to our economic advantage. This advantage argues that inequality makes the American economy fragile and unequal. UBI will prevent a recession by creating a resilient economy. This was seen in this Hughes 20 card, as well as this Harris 20 card right here. And economic failure causes nuclear war, which is seen in this Mavic 21 card. We're going to pull the claims and the warns from each card into our case overview. And then we move on to our solvency, which argues that the UBI will essentially pay for itself due to the economic benefits it creates, regardless of what funding mechanism is used. This was according to the Levy Institute macroeconomic model. This is seen in this Nikki 4017 card, as well as this Samuel 20 card right here. So now that we extend these cards, we're going to add 1 to 2 new cards that add more to these points, as well as responding to any on-case arguments made by the negative. So we're going to go to the case section and the answers to section. So let's say the negative, they use economic arguments. They say that there's going to be a tax turn. So we're going to use this Davidson 17 card that says the impact of tax increases on the economy is overstated and short-lived. So we're going to copy and paste that into our 2AC speech document. We have specific responses to any on-case argument addressed by the negative. We have our 2AC section of on-case done and ready to go. So now we're going to move on to responding to the federalism DA. You're going to need to do an offense argument, link or impact card it turns to specific to your case. We're going to do defense and updated non-unique cards within a week of the start of the tournament. So we're going to prove that the DA card is not relevant to today's date. And we're going to use impact calculus that compares the negative DA impacts to the affirmative case impacts. And then we're going to do some more defense with 2 to 3 new extended arguments. So we're going to argue no link, no impact, and we're going to indict their evidence and include our own analytical arguments using our affirmative case to answer back to arguments ran in the DA. To our speech document. And we're going to prepare answers to the federalism DA. So first, I'm going to look for a link or impact that is a turn to my case. So we're going to argue that there's no link to the federalism DA. And we're going to argue that there's no spillover, therefore no impact. So I'm going to take this Constantine 16 card and this Ryan 19 card. That proves that there's no link. And then I'm also going to take this Larson 18 cards that says there's going to be no blackouts, as the federalism DA does argue that a U.S. blackout will occur via the affirmative plan passing. So we're just going to copy and paste that here. Affirmative matter more than the impacts that the negatives presented. So I'm going to use this evidence that the grid does not exist. Is prepared for the federalism DA. I'm going to use this new evidence that I just copied and pasted in my speech document and apply it to the evidence that I already have in my case. So since I'm arguing that a UBI will avoid an economic recession, which will cause nuclear war via this MAVAC 21 card, I can use this MAVAC 21 card from my 1AC and apply it to their DA in regards to their impact, proving that our affirmative outweighs the negative's impact of extinction via U.S. blackout. Just a reminder, typically a 2AC will have to respond to more than one off-case position that the negative will run, but for an example for this video, again, I just used the federalism DA. So our speech document is done and ready to go. We have our case extensions up here, and then we have our answers to negative responses right here. I'm just going to be sure to label it so I don't get confused and the judge can clearly follow along with your arguments that you are running. And now we're all ready to go.